This is Today Radio. Hello and welcome to Short Biography. It's time to talk about Avecenna, also known as Ibn Sina, with the full name of Abu Ali Hussein ibn Abdullah ibn Sina, who is no exaggeration to consider him as the greatest physician and philosopher in the Islamic civilization and the greatest scientist in the Islamic Golden Age, that will be early 10th and late 11th centuries. That implies to the era in which most of our best scholars were theorizing and compiling. Generally speaking, he has been regarded as a genius polymath, that is to say, peaking at almost every field such as medicine, philosophy and logic, Islamic theology, psychology, geography and geology, astronomy, mathematics, physics, and even poetry. The information we have about Avicenna's life is based on his own autobiography and also records of Abu Ubayd Juzjani, Avicenna's student. He was born in Bukhara in present-day Uzbekistan, the capital of the Persian Samanid dynasty and the center of scientific and cultural affairs, being under Nuh ibn Mansur's rulership by that time. He grew up in a Shiite family and had learned the Islamic holy book, the Quran, and many literary issues by the age of 10. His father referred him to a teacher to learn Indian arithmetic, and then to another teacher called Nathalie to study philosophy and logic of Aristotle. The facts he discovered highly impressed his educator in such a way that Nathalie asked his father not to get him involved in anything but studying. Being avid in mastering things and hungry for knowledge on one hand, and finding the width of his teacher's knowledge narrow on the other hand, resulted in self-studying Aristotle books and their commentaries. Once, as a teenager, he began reading Metaphysics of Aristotle and couldn't quite grasp the significance of it. As he has mentioned in his autobiography, he read through the book for about 40 times, till the words were imprinted on his memory, but their meaning were hopelessly obscure. He was greatly troubled and disappointed and was like, "This is a book which can never be understood." Until one day he encountered a street vendor demanding money and trying to sell his cheap book. Surprisingly, that book was Farabi's commentary on metaphysics and the solution to his problem. He also read Euclid's book, the famous Greek mathematician, and Claudius' book, the great Greek astronomer, and solved their issues and also explained them to his master Nathalie. After reading a lot of natural and supernatural books, which, as his own saying, opened the doors of knowledge to him, he turned to medicine, and in no time gained such fame that even significant medical doctors started studying medicine as Avicenna's students. He cured many patients when he was only 16. He went through logical and philosophic books again for a year and a half. This is the period of his life, being busy with nothing except reading and learning, around the clock, 24/7, non-stop. A 16-year-old teenager whom, when facing a question which he found no answer to, said a prayer and asked Allah for help, and then went back to work. According to his own accounts, whenever he fell asleep, he would dream those problems, many of which got solved. By the age of 18, he had mastered whatever natural and supernatural fields existed. At the end of his life, he said, "What I know now is the same as what I knew those years, and I did not extend my knowledge afterwards." Once, a critical illness struck the king Nuh Samani that no one could find remedy for except Avecenna. He cured him and came to king's notice. Avecenna asked the king for access to the huge royal library. He utilized this library for long till the day caught fire. Samanid dynasty came to its end, and as the political conditions drove him, left Bukhara and went to Gorganj court. Meantime, Mahmud of Ghazni requested Gorganj's governor, that his court scientists be transferred to Ghazni. Avicenna refused this invitation, for he was a Shiite Muslim and a philosopher, while Mahmud was against Shiites and tended to kill them and also burn philosophic books. He then proceeded westwards to Gorgan and then Ray in the vicinity of modern Tehran. Ray's lord was Shirin, Sharim's daughter. Avicenna was highly esteemed by Shirin and treated her child who was diagnosed with melancholia. Political situations didn't let Avicenna's stay in Ray last for long. He departed for Hamadan for fear of Mahmud's attack. The lord of Hamadan was sick and so called him to his court. He stayed in the castle for 40 days and became a good company of the lord's. He treated the lord and came back to his dwelling with many gifts given as reward. He then was nominated as the minister of Hamadan. Not long after the military coup, Avicenna's house got surrounded by soldiers and his belongings were looted. He escaped and sought refuge in someone's house, during which he was occupied with lecturing philosophic books. The remaining 10 or 12 years of Avicenna's life were spent in Isfahan in central Iran, peaceful years spent on writing and teaching. He wrote a lot of books that 2 of them are the most famous. The first one is Shifa, the Book of Healing, on philosophy and geosciences that has been published in the cities of Tehran, Kahire, Venice, Prague, and Oxford. And the other one is Qanun, the Canon of Medicine, on anatomy and medicine, which became a standard medical text at many medieval universities and remained in use as late as 1650. It was translated into Latin in 12th century AD and has been published many times in Italy. Thank you for listening to us. Till the next episode. Goodbye.